Hey, what is going on, everybody? James here, your ABX audiophile. Today we are going to talk about a very special speaker to me, the Markaudio Sota Cesti-Bs. You're not going to want to miss this one. So if you have not heard of Markaudio, Mark Fenlon lives in Hong Kong, started the whole thing. They do make just drivers that are pretty popular in the DIY sphere, as well as many high-end manufacturers use them in their speakers. And they also decided to make their own entire line of speakers, which you are going to see here today. We'll talk about them. The ones we're going to talk mostly about today are the Cesti-B bookshelf, and then we have the Cesti-T towers in for review, which we're going to be doing the Cesti-Bs right now. We'll do the Cesti-T towers later. They also have a VOD line, which consists of a VOD1 bookshelf speaker, or a stand mount speaker, and it's got a stand that bolts to it. It's a whole system. I'll put a picture of it up here. Those are over at Kelly's. I do not have them here. We're going to be doing a review of those. And really one of the main things that I wanted to talk to you guys about today is that they have an entire lineup of speakers that are coming out in 2024. They're redoing everything from the ground up. So we're going to see those come out in 2024. We're super excited about it. Let's talk about these guys. We actually went to Pacific Audio Fest and met Dwight with Markaudio. We kind of got to talking. I told him what we were doing with our charity, and we ended up buying a set. I actually bought a set of Cesti-Ts, the ones that you see behind me, as well as a set of VOD1s, which Kelly, our other reviewer, has at his system. And then they donated a set of the Cesti-Bs to us to raffle off to raise money for our charity, which we did. I think we raised almost $800 for raffling off a set of those speakers, and it was really cool. So the Cesti-Bs, if you look at them, let's see, full CNC HDF, so it's all CNC to HDF cabinets, super thick. Custom drivers, it's all the hand-built Markaudio drivers, metal drivers, and they are all full range drivers here, and then even the tweeters are full range drivers. The crossovers are just simple, very basic second order crossovers, and it really makes a good wide range that these speakers actually operate in. And if you look at them, I'll grab this one here. If you can see the waveguides on the front, you can see on that one side, it's kind of more open and flat to the side of the cabinet than it is on the other side. So they are position orientated. So you got the little Markaudio sticker, and so you do have a left and right speaker on the bottom. And these are hefty, man. I'm throwing this thing around, but this thing is heavy. On the bottoms, you've got the places to put the spikes. They actually come with these spikes. You screw them in. It's got the inserts for it. On the back, you've got beautiful binding posts. Let's see if we can get those to focus in there. There we go. Really nice binding posts, all knurled, really high end. They feel like good quality. Just overall, really heavy speaker. I mean, I was surprised when I took these things out of the box how actually heavy they were. So that's kind of the construction of them. That waveguide's really nice because it really allows for you to have them kind of off axis. You don't have to have them on axis. And so you can have them off axis, and that waveguide really makes for a really nice soundstage. It's one of the things I noticed about the Markaudios when I plugged them in for the first time was that soundstage. It was like, whoa, that is nice. But we'll talk about that. All right, so the tweeter that they use in this guy is a 2-inch mixed alloy, so it's kind of like a metal driver. And again, it is full range. Really beautiful performance out of this tweeter. I really like the sound of these guys. Then it's got the same thing, 4.5 inch long throw, again mixed alloy Markaudio driver in there, and that's kind of, I think they use basically all of the same drivers in all of the speakers that we auditioned. So if you look at the Cesti-Ts back here, you will see it's basically just a taller version of this that has another driver added to it, basically like a bass driver. But it's just a taller cabinet, digs a little bit deeper, but essentially it's the same thing, same drivers, same crossover kind of stuff, and some fine tweaks in there. But Basically the same thing. As far as like sensitivity, I think they claim 87 dB sensitivity on these speakers. Although I run some pretty low power tube amps. We audition these with the Emotiva XPA, the PrimaLuna DiaLouge Premium, which are high wattage. But we also ran these with the La Dolce Audio UA 2.5, I believe, and I think it's like 3 watts or something like that. Maybe 2.5 watts, really low power. And it did power these, and at 87 dB, typically that La Dolce Audio amplifier wouldn't power those that well. So I really think they're a little bit conservative on their efficiency ratings. I kind of felt like, just from dealing with some speakers that are high efficiency, I do a lot of open baffle stuff, that I felt like that rating was a little bit low, and I would kind of place it more around like maybe 90, 91 even, because they really ran off not very much power, and I was super surprised. Like I said, these are not a light bookshelf. Like, I could take the Sony SSC S5s or whatever, and you could just toss them in the air. They are super light. These things come in at like 20 some pounds a piece, and they are just a beefy speaker. So overall, built really well, nice custom drivers, all full range, beautiful little crossovers, very good cabinetry. The hardware and components on them are really nice. Overall, you get the sense of a real audiophile speaker. And these guys are priced at, I think, $1,500 a pair. I think the Cesti-T towers behind me are about $3,000 a pair. And then the Vioti ones, I believe those come in right around $2,000 a pair. And then they have the Tazi desktop speakers, which we'll be doing all separate reviews of all of this stuff as we move forward. But I think they're like about $1,000 a pair. So not a cheap speaker. I would classify these as a good step into the hi-fi range. First thing when I heard them at the Pacific Audio Fest was, man, these got a nice hi-fi sound. We just got done listening to some, $500,000, $1 million systems, and I was really impressed by these. And they were giving us basically clearance prices on the show, because Markaudio is no longer producing these speakers, and so they were basically clearing them out. I think we got these for like, I don't know, $500 a pair, and then ended up in our Discord community. And this is why you got to be a part of our Discord. Dwight from Markaudio ended up clearing these out for us for like, I don't know, man, it was stupid cheap. I think we sold like 10 pairs for him in like one day. But you got to be in our Discord to get that. So that being said, make sure you check the links in the description below. All of our cool stuff, our links, our website, Patreon, Instagram, Discord, YouTube, all that stuff's in there. Make sure you check it out and become part of the work that we're doing to raise money for youth musical programs. All right, so how do these things perform? If you look at the spec sheets, pretty flat, down to 40 hertz, all the way up to something like, I think, 35K. And I think that's important, because maybe even some of that stuff isn't audible to the ear, but I think there's a lot of information and soul and kind of magic that dwells up in there. So we really like to be able to have that range, really be able to use all of that. And so to see that these things not only dig down to 40 hertz, and I can verify they do bass pretty damn well. We'll talk about how that sounds. But to have that 40 hertz to 35K, a good wide range on that speaker, you're going to get a lot of that sparkle and detail on the top. Overall, I would say that these are a very audiophile sounding speaker. And especially in the beginning, some maybe even say that they're a little bright. Not in a harsh way. I didn't get much sibilance and harshness from them, but they definitely could be a little clean, a little bright, of kind of that neutral space. I will say, though, after about 30 to 50 hours, these things like all of a sudden take a dose of melatonin and just relax and open up and smooth out, and they just really have a nice presentation. Just great soundstage, great imaging. They just do a really good job. And kind of talking about the soundstage, I think one of the things that helps these is kind of where Q Acoustics is kind of doing some cool stuff too. This tweeter cabinet here is completely isolated. It's completely separate, space for this tweeter. And then this is kind of open below with the bass port. And so you've got this isolation, you've got super thick, really, really high density, cabinetry here. So the resonances are really low. And this goes across the board with all of their speakers, especially the Vioti line. And so I think what happens there is you just end up getting a really clean soundstage that has a really, really nice focus to it. And overall just hit way above their price point. So if you haven't checked out Markaudio, make sure you do. They are just getting ready. They revamped their entire line of speakers. All of their new stuff is coming out. We should be seeing that hopefully spring of 2024. I talked to Dwight over at Markaudio a little bit. No specifics, no details really kind of releasing out, but doing some stuff with crossovers and drivers and just kind of reinventing everything a little bit in form factor. And so we're excited to see what they have coming out for us in 2024. If you have not followed Markaudio Sota, make sure you do. Keep an eye out for the Cesti-Bs, Cesti-Ts, and their Vioti line. I think they offer a really good product, especially if you're kind of stepping into that audiophile space. You're going to be surprised at what you get for your money. All right, so let's talk about how these speakers sound. Listening to Make Us Stronger, Ghost Rider, huge vocals kind of right at the beginning, very room filling. These speakers handle that absolutely stunning. When that song comes in and there's all that detail, that soundstage just comes at you. These speakers project that into the room very, very well. I would say the soundstage kind of, for the most part, lives just behind the speaker a little bit, which is kind of nice for me because it doesn't sound like it's coming directly from the speaker. So if I can have that soundstage just recessed back a little bit and get some nice layering and depth to it, I will say that these things soundstage very, very well, even if they are off axis. So usually you can kind of get that imaging tightened up and that focus kind of by being on axis, maybe a little bit more near field. I will say that due to the waveguides and the way that these things are constructed, one of the great things about these Markaudios is how they stage, and the soundstage is very big, pushes well outside the boundary of the speaker, good depth, good height. There was nothing that I felt like there was lacking soundstage wise. As far as low end, when you listen to what did we listen to? Oh, Origins by Headflux. Let's see, what was the other one? Oh, Sweet Dreams by Trinix. And then there's that bass one. I got my thing right here. Oh, the drum solo by Manu Cash. That thing was just absolutely absurd. Bass is tight. It's clean. Like I said, it only does go down to 40 hertz. So you may feel like you kind of need a sub here. If you're looking to dig down below 30, you're definitely going to want to implement, some nice quick subwoofers with this thing. You don't want anything sloppy. You want something nice and fast to keep up with these drivers. But yeah, they do that kind of upper bass, lower mids really well. In Bromberg's bass solo, absolutely phenomenal. Nice snap, nice attack, nice naturalness. Overall just very, very clean and real. Good space around the notes and the instruments. Good focus and detail. I will say that the Cesti-Bs are probably the most relaxed of all of the speaker lineup that they have. And they're all kind of very similar. They do have kind of a house sound because, like I said, they all use kind of the same drivers. So you're not going to be disappointed in the bass. The bass performs very well in all of the tracks, keeps up well. But like I said, you might need a sub. Getting into those mids, kind of upper mids, working on the vocals. We listen to The Ghost of Johnny Cash, House of the Rising Sun is a good one. Man in a Long Black Coat by Bob Dylan. That thing kind of starts pushing up into that upper mids, maybe even lower treble. His voice is kind of up there. Let's see, what else did we do? Oh, Fever by Elvis Presley. Mid-range, as far as instruments and vocals, is very good on these speakers. I wouldn't say that it is, pronounced. Like some speakers you get, you kind of start to get this like bump in the vocals, they kind of want it to be out there for you. And I'll say that these things didn't it wasn't overemphasized, I guess, if you will. But very good vocals. Again, good dimensionality, good space, good localization, good natural sound around the vocals. I didn't have any problems with these. I didn't feel like they were lacking anything or that I felt that I could pick them apart in any way. As far as the treble region, Listening to Dominique doing the birds, it's one that we all use. Sometimes there can be a little bit of sibilance kind of there, and I think that in the beginning, one of the things that we thought when we first started auditioning some of these speakers was like, holy crap, man, these things are a little bit bright. Like we can only get a few hours in here on these things, and you kind of get fatigued, if they're on axis and you're listening to some stuff that kind of focuses on that treble extension and really gets the high end work. And off axis was a little bit better, but what it was they just needed to break in. Whatever this is, this alloy that they use on this driver, however they're built to whatever tolerances, they really took 30 to 40 hours before they got into their space. And then all of that sibilance went away. Even so much so that Kelly, our other reviewer, he actually loved them in the beginning. And he's a really, really ultra clear, detail focused freak. He just lives off of it. The cleaner, the more focused, the tighter everything's is, the more forward that treble is, the happier he gets. He actually preferred them prior than post break-in. Once they hit about 30 to 50 hours, he was like, man, I kind of missed that sparkle that they had. Now, for me, that was perfect for me. It brought me right into my zone. So for some of you, who may say, oh, speaker burn-in's not a thing, I'm sorry to tell you, it really is. And you can't say that, oh, it's just your ear getting used to the speaker. No, your ear does not get used to sibilance. Sibilance is there or it's not. And when you first play these speakers, you will get some notes and hints of some sibilance and really pushing onto that bright side of things. And then as you break these speakers in, you come back like a month later and you'll play birds, and that sibilance is not there anymore. And I know this because I went back over to Kelly's house after some time of him having them, and we listened to them, and they were a lot mellower than they were when we first got them. So these speakers do love break-in. They do like to get that 30, 40 hours on them. So make sure you give them time. If you do step into some Markaudio stuff, it's going to be important for you to remember that. As far as layering, dimensionality, focus around some of the details and stuff that you're going to find in some of these songs. If you listen to Pillar 1 by Andy Akio, that song is an absolutely dead match for really kind of telling how the layering of your system is and kind of how that soundstage and really kind of getting into that depth and how things are spaced apart. And that song is nuts. And if you listen to it from the beginning to end, it is an absolute journey. But these speakers held up very well. I've heard speakers that, image and layer better and have more realness to them, like the Klipsch Forte 2s that I have. You can probably see them behind me. There they are right there. Those things are absolute realness, detail, layering, focus, edges, monsters. But, they're also, a new set of Fortes is going to cost you, $5,000 a pair or something like that. And it's all horns. And so we're kind of comparing apples to oranges at this point. But for what these are, for this bookshelf, absolutely phenomenal in that space. All right, so my overall thoughts are, I don't know in the $1,500 range where you're going to get a set of speakers that perform this well. I'm sure that they're out there. I'm sure that there's other speakers that, may put you in a space that you like better, whether they're brighter or warmer or whatever the case may be. But if you prefer a forward of neutral sound, stepping into that audiophile, focus, clarity, detail type thing, don't mind implementing a subwoofer, then the Markaudios are probably for you. Anyway, hope you all had a good time watching this. Keep an eye out for the new Markaudio stuff coming out in 2024. Well worth the money, and keep up the good work. Talk to y'all later.